Indeed it is. Take a look at what's happening at the corner wall and Broad here, and these worries are now escalating into bigger sell orders. It's still the middle of the day, folks, but this 6-month low in the Dow comes as a lot of premier names, premier companies are saying, even if we beat on revenues or earnings for the period that just ended, we are worried about the period we're now in. They're giving some concerned guidance going forward. Imagine being Donald Trump in the middle of this, preparing for tonight's big debate. You're the sole businessman here who might have a business solution for what's going on here. How does he avoid the Herman Cain phenomenon or the Ross Perot phenomenon? A business star who quickly fades out from the political scene, sort of like a supernova. Most experts say there is a big difference with Trump. His staggering wealth is one of them. His ability to market quite another. Tonight, with this test, what's going on in these markets and this economy provides the perfect storm to keep all eyes on the man who has single-handedly changed the dynamics of this race. We go to Larry Sabato on what's at stake for Donald Trump and how he plays it tonight. What do you think, Larry?
Well, Neil, he's the front runner, which means he has the most to lose or potentially the most to gain because people will be focusing on him. You know, the other 9 candidates, Neil, owe him a lot. Why? He has doubled, tripled, or quadrupled the audience tuning in for this debate. It will probably be the most watched of all 169 presidential primary debates that started in a series stretching back to 1944.
I think it was 168, but I'll go with the 169. All right, now, Larry, the one thing I look at when I see this is that other businessmen have tried for the brass ring on this, faded. Herman Cain faded, now for a variety of other reasons. The Pizza King just didn't get any further. Ross Perot, of course, made a very credible third-party run as a presidential candidate, didn't get much further, could have made a bigger run before he quit the race and then re-entered the race. My point is that the jury has kind of ruled already on business titans trying for this job. It's a tough road. So how crucial is Donald Trump's performance tonight to changing that?
Well, it's important, obviously. Look, Neil, he has to look presidential rather than business tycoonish. How does he look presidential? The first thing is he's got to be more positive than he has been. He can't go willy-nilly attacking the other candidates on the stage, if for no other reason that they're going to attack back. They get, under your rules, 30 seconds for a rebuttal. He doesn't get a surrebuttal. So it's really bad tactics for the debate. And second, Trump has got to get into the details of some issues. He's got to show people that he is prepared to govern, not simply to pontificate about immigration or Common Core or some other issue that interests him on any particular day.
You know, Larry, when I look at this, I kind of liken it to the pressure that was on Ronald Reagan for the one and only debate he had with Jimmy Carter that year. And he had been framed as a right-wing kook who would blow up Luxembourg if he had the chance. People saw him up there with Carter and the there you go again thing. They say, he comported himself pretty well, didn't seem like a lunatic. Yeah, we'll consider him, Now, I know it's a very different point in a very different year, in a very different race. But I think that's kind of the pressure on Donald Trump. People have heard about the phenomenon. They know, obviously, the name, the shows, et cetera. But they haven't really taken him seriously as a presidential candidate. That could change if he does what tonight?
Well, it could change if he projects a presidential image and if he takes command of the stage. And he can do it because all eyes are going to be on him as long as I said, he doesn't start attacking and getting all hot and flustered. The one advantage he's got, Neil, over at least some of those candidates is that because of his career making big decisions in business and also doing a lot of television, is that he reacts well to pressure. He can handle pressure. A lot of people can't.
That's a very good point.
So I think that's a plus for him.
All right. Thank you, Larry, very much. This is what happens, though, when you succumb to pressure. It gets pretty nasty. And this is what I'm betting will, in fact, happen tonight, just like it's happened in Korea and it's happened in other countries. It quickly devolves into this sort of thing. I don't know. I'm not saying it can't happen here, but, yeah, they could hit each other. It could get very, very violent. And, well, it's no stranger in South Korea. But it certainly has happened in Ukraine. We've had moments where they just come to fisticuffs. Usually, I'm told Donald Trump has a very good right uppercut. I don't know about Jeb Bush's. I suspect that an angry Rand Paul could surprise you. And don't even get me started on Chris Christie. All right, we've got former Senator Scott Brown on whether it could be reduced to that. What do you think, Scott?
Geez, I certainly hope not, Neil. I would put my money, I think, on Rubio or Walker, or some
Yeah.
of the younger people getting in there and mixing it up. So,
You know, there is this temptation. I know you've had many, many debates when you were campaigning for the Senate twice. This idea that it's how you look to your future constituents or those you want to make your constituents. And in your case, in Massachusetts, the first run, you couldn't look too crazy. You were addressing a liberal state, but a state that was angry and getting restless. So you had to walk a fine line, and you had to present yourself as a guy who speaks a very different language, in this case, than the Ted Kennedy, the seat that you were filling, but one who wasn't, you know, a grenade-throwing nut. So you've got a couple of people in that, on those podiums in both debates today, who have a reputation for being grenade-throwing. What do you tell them to do?
well, first of all, I think anybody running in the primary right now, the 17 people would make a better president than Hillary Clinton. So let's start with that. I'm very impressed with the folks that have decided to put their name and their family and their beliefs on the line. With regard to what we need to do is, when this is all over, we need to unite as a party so we can take on Hillary Clinton, the presumed nominee for the Democratic Party. And what I'm hoping happens tonight is, listen, I'm thankful that Donald Trump is in the race. I think he's talking about issues that I and others have talked and worked about for many, many years: immigration, border security, our debt and deficit, ISIS. These are things that everyone wants to know, what are the solutions? And he has to make a choice. Is he going to look presidential and act presidential, or is he going to come out as an entertainer? And I think tonight will be a defining moment.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So you should immediately take another position, Senator. But the one thing I think that could be defining for Donald Trump is, I think this is the night, unless he goes another route, where in the eyes of many Americans watching, they'll take him seriously as a presidential candidate. They won't take this as a lark or his trying to make a new apprentice. They will see in this and his performance tonight a real credible candidate, much to some of his opponents' chagrin, who hope that he's just a super short phenomenon and the oxygen that leaves the room will return once he's out. What do you think?
Well, I think it's appropriate for them to, number one, be afraid of him. He is the front runner. He, as Larry referenced, he is experienced in front of a camera. He is experienced when it comes to pressure. And the American people are listening. They're curious. They're kind of testing the waters. They're trying to figure out if he's acting as he is on TV or if it's for real. So that's what he has to get past right now, is not only attacking our party and the members within our party, which is turning off, quite frankly, a lot of people in the party, and/or when is he going to start to come up with some defining of his positions and solutions and letting the American people know how he plans to do this?
Yeah, but
how
by
it's
the way,
going to
Scott,
be paid
when
for.
are his opponents? I mean, it's not as if they've spelled out detailed prescriptions of the economy. Some of them have talked about broad-based tax cuts, and
Sure,
some have
of
even
course,
attached
yeah.
numbers to it, but very few have really gone into the weeds here. So I don't know who are they to judge.
Well, the ones who have, I think Walker has, I think Rubio has. Christie's been very defined of what he wants to do with Social Security and Medicare. So
Well,
there are
I
some
don't know
people
even
out there
there.
talking.
He's talked about it in broad terms, right? He says, yeah, he's open to means testing it. He's open to pushing back the retirement age in future years. I mean, really?
Well, I've listened, Neil, with all due respect, I've been to quite a few Christie events. I've listened in detail. I thought his proposals and his ideas are quite frankly outside the norm and not very popular. He's attacking the sacred third rail of politics and doing a good job where people in New Hampshire are showing up and listening. So it's going to be interesting.
Is he your candidate?
No, I'm actually meeting with all the candidates right now, and I think in New Hampshire in particular, you got Walker, Rubio, Christie, Trump, and probably Carly Fiorina, the top five right now.
Sorry, they're all sucking up to you, as they should, by the way. Scott Brown, always good seeing you, my friend.
Good to see you, Neil. Thank you.